All right, so it's an honor for me to begin this session. And it's also an honor for me to introduce the moderator for this session, who's Ambassador Kyung-Hoon Sol, a director of CIFAL Jeju and JITC. So he's been a long-time career diplomat for over 30 years, and he has served as the ambassador to Ukraine and Moldova. Most recently, he was appointed as the Vice President for Global Partnership at the KOICA, Korea International Cooperation Agency, Korea's ODA implementing body. So now I would like to pass it over to Director Sol.
Am I on? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you for introduction. Let me first welcome all of the members to the panel discussion on the theme of the possibility of building a cooperation platform of the Korean Peninsula. I'm certainly very much delighted to moderate this session. At the moment, JITC, Jeju International Training Center, is holding a workshop on the role of tourism platform. And this panel discussion is a part of that workshop. For the audience who do not belong to this workshop group, let me briefly provide a background for our panel discussion. Tourism sector is considered as an increasingly booming sector according to tourism statistics. For 2017, the incoming tourist flow to the Asia-Pacific region reached more than 300 million people. This is close to a quarter of the world's total population. And this number is expected to continue to rise in the coming years. According to PATA report, Pacific Asia Travel Association, the international visitor arrivals to the Asia-Pacific region will continue to rise by 5.5% annually up to 2023. This indicates a greater potential for tourism industry. But the tourism sector involves various different stakeholders, like governments, tourism enterprises, local communities, and travelers. This gives rise to the need for platforms which relevant stakeholders can communicate with each other, share knowledge and best lessons learned, and generate effective cooperation. Thus, in this panel discussion, we will focus on the specific example of tourism platform. For the panel discussion, we chose two cases. One is already up and running, OLE trial. The other is more visionary and something in the future, a possible formulation of tourism platform on the Korean Peninsula. There has been a long debate whether tourism can facilitate peace or whether tourism can give significant impact to conflict resolution. So I expect we'll have a very interesting discussion on this topic today. And for the panel discussion, let me also briefly provide the explanation how we are going to proceed. First, we are going to have a two presentation. 15 minutes will be given to each presenter for their presentation. And after that, we are going to have discussants, intervention for 3 minutes. They can provide a comment on the topic that we are discussing, and maybe they can raise questions as well. And then we are going to have another round of response from the presenters. And then after that, certainly you will have the opportunity to speak, of course. So without much ado, let me invite the first presenter, Ms. Myung-Suk Seo. Myung-Suk Seo is actually a creator of the Jeju OLE Trail. She is the CEO and chairman of Jeju OLE Foundation. She has become a legendary figure by creating the OLE walking trails around Jeju. And walking OLE Trail has become one of the bucket list for Korean people. So it's not actually an exaggeration. She has become a legendary figure. So every year, millions of people are coming to Jeju Island for Ole Trail. So without much ado, let me invite Ms. Myung-suk So for her presentation. Please.
굉장히 가분한 칭찬에 굉장히 안녕하세요. 안녕하세요. 굉장히 가분한 칭찬에 몸둘 바를 모르겠고 굉장히 감사드립니다. 레전드인지는 모르겠으나 하여튼 굉장히 저희끼리 한국 사람들에게 굉장히 사랑받는 그리고 꼭 걷고 싶은 제주를 오면 꼭 걷고 싶은 일생에 한 번은 그 길을 다 걸어보고 싶은 그런 길이 되고 있는 건 사실입니다. 이렇게 좋은 날씨에 사실은 저는 발표보다는 여러분들을 모시고 바로 이 뒤편에도 원래 8코스가 지나고 있기 때문에 그 길을 걷고 싶은 마음이 사실은 오늘 날씨가 좋아서 더 그런 유혹을 느꼈습니다만은 발표를 해야 되니까 발표를 하겠습니다. 저 이거를 저는 여기 극동아시아에서도 가장 남쪽에 코리아의 가장 최남단에 바로 이 근처죠. 이 컨벤션 근처에 있는 도시에서 작은 도시에서 나고 자랐습니다. 저희 어머니께서는 맨 아래쪽에 이 서귀포 시티 출신이지만 저희 아버지는 맨 최북단, 우리나라의 최북단, 노스코리아죠. 지금 최북단의 끝에 바로 백두산 근처에서 태어나신 분인데 6.25라는 우리나라의 굉장히 아픔이었던 그 전쟁을 통해서 제주도에 오시게 됐습니다. 그래서 저는 한라산과 백두산의 맨 끝에 산에 이제 그런 혈통 출신이죠. 그런데 이 제주도 그렇지만 저는 제주도 사람이죠. 그래서 제주도에서 나고 자라면서 제주도는 제가 어렸을 때부터 관광의 메카였어요. 신혼 허니문 여행이 처음 시작된 곳이고 대학생들이 배낭여행을 처음 왔던 그런 한국에서 투어리즘 1번지였는데 저는 이런 곳에 살면서도 단 한 번도 이곳이 아름답다는 생각을 해본 적이 없어요. 그리고 좋다는 생각을 해본 적도 없고 어렸을 적에는 어떻게든 이 섬을 떠나야 된다. 어떻게든 더 큰 도시로 나가야겠다. 그리고 더 문화적인 곳으로 가야겠다. 이런 생각을 하면서 자랐고 그리고 저는 길을 낼 생각은 꿈에도 어렸을 적에는 상상도 못한 일이고 기자가 되겠다고 생각했어요. 글을 쓰겠다 생각했죠. 그래서 서울에 대학교 때 진학을 했고 그리고 실제로 기자가 됐는데 정작 기자가 되고 난 다음에 25년을 정치부 기자, 대한민국 굉장히 정치 상황이 변동적이고 매우 뉴스가 많은 곳이잖아요. 늘 한반도 이슈도 많고 그런 곳에서 민주화, 뭐 혁명 이런 것도 많았고 그런 속에서 일을 하면서 너무나 많은 에너지를 일에서 다 쏟아놓고 25년을 그렇게 살다 보니까 제가 나이가 딱 50살이 됐을 때 이렇게 더 이상 살다가는 죽겠다 싶어서 나의 버킷리스트인 산티아고 길을 한번 죽기 전에 가자. 그리고 휴가를 회사에서 안 주니까 그럼 회사를 그만두고 가자. 직업을 그만둘 결심을 했어요. 너무 에너지가 바닥이 난 상태고 제 내면의 배터리가 이 눈금이 하나도 없다는 걸 깨달았기 때문에 그래서 사실은 뭐 관광에 벤치마킹하러 간 것도 아니었고 길을 내기 위해서 제가 무슨 어떤 견학을 하기 위해서 간 것도 아니고 오로지 제 직업적인 이 소진을 지금 이 힘든 상황을 스톱하고 성찰하고 앞으로 어떻게 살아야 될까? 이런 생각을 하기 위해서 떠났던 길에서 저는 많은 사람들을 여기서 보듯이 많은 사람들이 이렇게 만났죠. 뭐 코엘료 같은 유명한 세계적인 작가도 길에서 우연히 만나기도 하고 이런 20대, 50대 뭐 남녀 때로는 혼자서 때로는 여럿이 걸으면서 굉장히 많은 걸 내려놓고 제 도시 생활, 서울에서의 생활, 언론사의 생활 같은 걸 다 이제 그 스트레스, 그 괴로움을 다 날려버렸는데 그 길에서 그 길이 끝날 때쯤에 고향에 돌아가서 길을 내야겠다는 결론에 이르렀어요. 그때 제주도는 굉장히 관광해서 굉장히 힘들었던 상황이에요. 탑 관광지였는데 계속 손님들이 외국으로 나가고 제주도는 다 와봤다고 생각하고 한마디로 좀 이제 좀 이렇게 사이클이 내려가고 있었던 거죠. 그래서 제주도에서 관광의 새로운 돌파구로 계속 그때 얘기됐던 게 2005년 6년에 얘기됐던 게 케이블카 놓자, 뭐 큰 테마 건물을 짓자, 그러니까 이런 식으로 또 뭐 영리병원을 만들자, 카지노를 합법화하자, 이런 식으로 굉장히 개발 지향적인 거, 엄청나게 큰 규모의 돈을 넣고 아니면 자연을 대규모로 파괴를 동반하는 그런 아이디어들만 계속 제시가 되고 있었어요. 근데 저는 그 길에서 다른 희망을 발견했죠. 이런 식으로 제주도는 더 산티아고 스페인보다 더 아름다운 풍광, 더 아름다운 오름, 이런 걸 많이 갖고 있는데 이런 걸 연결하면 얼마나 좋을까. 이런 길들을 연결해서 하면 참 아름다운 길이 나올 텐데, 그리고 더 오래 스테이하게 할 수 있을 텐데, 더 오래 머물게 할 수 있을 텐데, 맨날 자동차 타고 렌트카 타고 2박 3일 관광만 하는 그런 현실이 굉장히 안타까웠어요. 그래서 제가 제주도로 돌아와서 고향에 30년 만에 돌아와서 길을 내기 시작한 거고요. 처음에는 저 혼자 시작했지만 제 동생하고 철저하게 이게 민간의 힘으로 했어요, 처음에. 그리고 많은 분들이 도와주셨고 이게 길을 걸어보고 좋다고 자원봉사해 주시는 분들도 생겨났고 너무 행복하다고 감사하다고 저희 사단법인에 후원해 주시는 분들도 생겨났고, 그래서 민간의 후원과 민간의 힘으로 이렇게 가고 있다가 너무 관광객이 많이 오고 올레길을 걷는 사람이 많아지니까 이제 행정에서도 화장실을 지어준다 할지 이제 센터 안내소를 이제 몇 군데 한달지 이런 행정적인 뒷받침도 이제 이루어지게 됐죠. 그래서 사람들이 굉장히 한국처럼 빠른 사회에서 너무 지치게 사는 사람들이 저 같았던 사람들이 제주도에 와서 또 빠른 관광을 하는 게 아니라 천천히 제주도에 그 유명하지 않았던 마을들 이런 것들을 돌면서 1년에 한 번씩 있는 축제 때는 또 더 많은 사람들이 와서 제주의 실제 삶, 그다음에 속살, 보이지 않았던 관광지, 일반 관광지에서는 보이지 않았던 그런 속살들을 보게 된 거죠. 그래서 저희들은 이제 외국과의 교류, 이제 저희들의 경험을 전수해 주기를 바라는 일본에서 8년 전에 찾아왔어요. 우리도 길을 내고 싶다, 큐슈에. 그래서 저희들이 그동안에 길을 자연 친화적인 공법으로 돌다리를 만들고 뭐 목장문을 만들고 이랬던 많은 경험들이 있습니다. 그런 경험들을 되도록이면 인공 자료를 안 쓰고 끊어진 길은 이어주고 사라진 길은 불러내고 없는 길은 자연적인 공법으로만, 어떤 인위적인 소재도 쓰지 않고 어떤 기계도 사용하지 않고 오로지 인간의 손으로, 그러니까 자연에 최대한 파괴를 안 하는 방식으로 길을 낸 거죠. 그런 길들을 만드는 방식을 일본, 몽골에 전수를 해서 일본 큐슈올레, 몽골 올레를 만드는 데 도움을 줬어요. 베트남 하고는 올 3월에 MOU를 해서 내년쯤에 베트남 달랏에도 길을 내게 될 텐데, 저의 마지막 가장 내고 싶은 길은 따로 있습니다. 아버지, 아까 처음 시작 때 아버지가 우리 한반도의 최북단에서 오신 분인데 한 번도 전쟁이 끝나질 않았기 때문에 한 번도 돌아가지 못한 채로 돌아가셨어요. 아버지 땅까지 이 제주에서 시작해서 아버지 땅까지 걸어가는 피스 올레, 평화 올레를 만들고 연결하는 게 저의, 또 우리 사단법인 제주 올레의 꿈입니다. 이상입니다. 감사합니다. 들어주셔서. 네.
Oh, so table was actually rather small. I felt that. I would like to thank Ms. Myung-suk So for her very impressive presentation. It's about the story of a family. And I was very much impressed by her statement that she's going to create another ole, piece ole. I'm very much looking forward to that. And the second presentation will be on the subject building a tourism cooperation platform and the potential for North-South reunification. Dr. William Cannon Hunter will make a presentation. Dr. Hunter is a professor at Gyeonghee University in the Department of Convention Management. Once a visiting fellow at Jeju National University, he's not a stranger to Jeju Island. Dr. Hunter's research interest covers a wide range of tourism-related issues, such as smart tourism, border tourism, like in the demilitarized zone. Without much delay, I would like to give a microphone to Dr. Hunter. Please. Welcome, Dr. Hunter. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Okay, good afternoon. I hope everybody had a good lunch. And listening to Ms. So's presentation about the ole, I can appreciate some emotional attachments, and I can appreciate the sense and the success of starting small, okay? Cooperation platform, potential for North-South reunification. This is a very complex and, again, emotional subject. And instead of dealing with the small, it seems that we start by dealing with the large, and that's the difficulty. So talking about sort of this notion here, a couple of things should be said. And the first of all is that in terms of platforms, we have, on a very essential level, we can say there are two forms of platform. The virtual, or the digitalized representation of the real, the built, okay, and sort of the human or the traveled world that we live in, okay. Now, in the work that I do with the Smart Tourism Research Center in Seoul and with other projects, okay, there's a gap, and I've called it here, I said, it's a cognitive/operational, okay? So there's a gap in thinking, and there's a gap in doing, and they can't be separated, okay? On the second level, so that's concerning a basic notion of platform. On the second level of reunification, basically we can start with the issue of trust. And I've written a paper a long time ago. I wrote a paper called Trust Between Cultures, okay? And what it takes to break down stereotypes, what it takes to change policy, and these kind of things. So as I'm thinking about platforms and trust between culture, I immediately, my thoughts turn to the Sustainable Development Goals, okay? And this is sort of a really good example or illustration of the large versus the small, okay? From starting, you can see the success of the ole concept in Jeju. It's successful, one of many small business ventures, okay? In Jeju, the failure rate is very high for small business because they want to start too large, okay? So starting with a dream or an essential sort of concept and building is one way of doing things. But when we're talking about things like sustainability goals, we're talking about very large concepts and top down. So we always talk about the word implementation. How do you operationalize or implement an idea that's based on certain values? Okay, it's not as easy as taking the values that you hold and creating a reality from the small to the large. Large top down, bottom up. How do these two concepts work together? Okay, so this cognitive operational gap between platforms that we discussed a little bit earlier, okay, I'm going to discuss this a lot more in detail in session 6, okay, but we can say that this reflects this operational distance, okay, we see in this idea of smart city. So we're not even talking about smart tourism anymore. It's become so ambitious that we say we have to talk about smart city, which is the virtual integration of all infrastructure, all systems, and so forth. Okay, so how is this not possible? Okay, this is where I'm starting from. Why is this not possible? The idea of smart city. Okay, the first reason it's not really possible is because there is the issue of information. A smart city would require full transparency and full access to all information. That means all destination resources, all properties, all mobile platforms, okay? So that means everything that you see and do is seen and done by everybody else, okay? Do you even want that, okay? So you see in the little picture below there, you can see what this is. This is at Los Angeles, LAX. You can see in the background an airplane is taking off. And down below on the screen, you see a little boy, and he says, "There goes flight number whatever it is," okay? So this is full transparency, okay? Do you know every flight that takes off and lands from Pyongyang? Do they want you to know? No. Okay, barrier number one to any idea of this idea of reunification is transparency of information. Second is something I also talked about this morning, which is borders, okay? And until you have open borders that are sustainable as open borders, okay? So you might refer to instances in the past where the border was open, but is it sustainably open? That means, do we have a history of the border being open and staying open? So that would mean not only travel between, to and from, across the DMZ, but to and from via Dokdo to Japan. Do we have this sort of thing, right? I guess we do have a seaport, so let me just not emphasize that too much, okay? But one of the biggest icons, of course, at the DMZ is the abandoned train, right, that no longer travels back and forth. Okay, so augmented reality, AR, is sort of a sort of the leading sort of image for the idea of a smart city. Okay, it creates an illusion of full connectivity via your mobile device. Are you fully connected? No. It creates an illusion because you can see in the image below here, you move your device across a landscape and various commercial entities pop up. Okay, and then you can maybe map that or something else, okay? So this is not the idea of full integration. This is an illusion of full integration, okay? So at this point, we see that the idea of information and access are at this point still quite limited in their potential for being platforms for reunification, okay? Now, I'm just going to kind of wrap up here. There is a sort of heritage of aggression, I'm sorry to say, in terms of North-South reunification. Okay, it's an emotional thing that I do not want to probe into on too deep a level. Okay, but the basic essence of this is the lack of trust, and I want to mention just a little bit about the Zainichi, or the Korean communities in Japan, okay? And that's with an S, because there are two Korean communities in Japan. One is pro South Korea, the Mindan, and one, of course, is pro North, or the Chongran, right? So until we have some idea of the power of Chongran to support North, okay, in terms of financial property, intellectual property, these things, okay, and their role in keeping the Koreas apart, okay. I don't think we have a full grasp on the situation, okay. So I think that just in wrapping up, my final sort of comments here, looking forward, yes, I think I really don't know or care about reunification personally, okay, because I don't really believe in an ethno-state. And if you want to have a Korean ethno-state, you would require all of northeast China as well. Okay, so that's a sense of what we call Zionism, or what the Jews tried to do in Israel and failed. Okay, because it's not a pure ethno-state. Okay, so think about those things, and we can look to the past. And I mentioned the word sustainability. Okay, the idea of sustainability is not that you have some great historical landmark, and then once it passes, it's over, and then we can look back on it fondly. No, we have to be able to employ it towards future endeavors, and we have to have, again, this sort of trust or confidence. So we can see just very quickly, at a very basic level, we could pull up 3, 4, or 5 examples of the difficulties we face between two states and two ideologies. There's the 1983 Rangoon bombing in Burma, okay, that killed many Korean officials and almost the Korean president. The failure of Sunshine Policy, Kim Dae-jung, okay, very picturesque, very photogenic, the meeting between, okay, the opening, the journey from Seoul to Pyongyang, but what is it today? It's just a memory. It's just a memory. Okay? The Mount Gumgang tourism region, 2002 to 2008. Sustainable? 6 years? No, it's not. It's over. Game over. Okay? The failure of Gaesong industrial region. Okay? What is it today? A memory. Okay? Current events? Look to the right of the slide, bottom right. Sounds great, right? And one of my favorite jokes, and I'm sorry to bring such a dark end to my project, but I always loved it when I saw it on TV. President Moon and our great leader, okay, hugging, right? And I'm saying, that's a strange display of emotion for Koreans. And then I thought, oh yeah, they're checking for weapons. Okay, so anyway, end with a joke. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Hunter. He made a very, how do I say, controversial presentation instead of informative. He highlighted the difficulties that we are facing in formulating tourism platform between two Koreas. Certainly, I think the mistrust and the broken promises can be a really serious hurdle. But maybe we have to just go ahead, as Ms. So has done. I mean, quit the job, go for it, and you make it. So after two presentations, I actually invited two discussants. They will make a few comments, and they will raise questions regarding the two presentations. And originally, I'll try to give each discussant 3 minutes for their comments and response. But I think the 3 minutes seems to be too short. So I will give 5 minutes for each discussant for their questions and comments. I will give the first floor first to Mr. Randy Durban. He's the CEO of Global Sustainable Tourism Council. And this Tourism Council is the international accreditation body for sustainable tourism certification. It seems a very important body, of course. So I will give you the floor for your comments. Please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Nice to be here. So I'll make first a couple of comments to each presentation, and then I want to raise a question, and I'm sure you'll come back to me later. So first with the Ole Trail. I've been using Ole Trail as a case study in my global presentations, including in a presentation this morning, because I think it's a fabulous case of creating an opportunity for visitors to extend their stay. So I already talked about that today. I think it's a world-class case study in terms of that. have a minor point. I'm curious to know what your Vietnam MOU is, because that would have ramifications for other countries in the room and so forth. So I'd be curious to learn about that at some point. But kind of philosophically, big picture on an Ole Trail, you know, the world is more and more an urban place. We have 7.5 billion people on the planet. Through economic development, every society, regardless of culture, every society through economic development moves from the small village to the big city, right? And so we're more and more a world of big city people. So we have more and more of a globalized economy. We have more and more of similar lifestyle. And I think what humanity needs most, right, in the world in terms of just our own psychology and our own quality of life is more connection with nature. And in tourism, it frustrates me somewhat that even when we get visitors, tourists, out in nature, it's entirely too short and too quick. Out comes the selfie stick, and we're focused on iconic images and photos of myself with my friends to get it on Facebook as soon as possible. And do I really absorb nature? And I think there's tremendous value in slowing down because we live too fast. We live too much urban. And I live urban myself. I prefer it, but I think there's a great value in to slow down, contemplate nature. Some of the world's great thinkers were walkers. Gandhi talked about the value of just getting away. In my own personal life, I feel like I've made my best decisions as a leader of organizations and in business on my third or fourth hour of a hike, not the first 20 minutes. So I think where we do have some victories in tourism development, it's occasionally we're getting people out in nature, but it's entirely too short. And we need more Ole trails, and we need to just break away from our lives. And we as tourism development planners, I think, need to create more opportunity for people to get out in nature, but not one toe for 20 minutes with a selfie stick, but a deep and longer stay. So I'd be interested in hearing people's comments about that, because that relates to peace and unification. Is can we somehow get all of us thinking more about core values, core enjoyment in our lives through nature? So I have some, hopefully we'll have time for me to come back and share some thoughts about the challenges of tourism as a mechanism for peace. I've got some other thoughts I'd like to add if we have time for it at another point. But let me just kind of make a point now for maybe some feedback from the two presenters. I think that sometimes when we're thinking about tourism and peace, our minds immediately go to a cross-cultural thing, and that if people just talked more, we'd all understand each other more. If the leaders of the world would really spend some quality time together as human to human, that would be good. But and then if citizens just spent more time and there's more cross-cultural experience and there's greater understanding. Honestly, I think that that's a little bit of a misunderstanding, because I don't think we want to confuse tourism with a longer, more deep cross-cultural experience. A student exchange program where a student is in another culture for 6 months. That's meaningful. Is a tourist who's visiting another country for 3 days or even 2 weeks, is that meaningful? I mean, how much really interaction is? Mass tourism does not put people together. So in our minds, we may have this lovely idealistic thing that we're really interacting with each other and getting to know each other and hugging each other and loving each other and going home and telling our politicians to get along better with that country. That doesn't happen. So we have this idealistic image of it. So I just want to challenge us to be thinking about, are we really talking about something that's realistic? Will we get that kind of benefit? So it's just like I said, with the depth of a nature experience. Ole Trail is good at this because it pulls you out for several hours. And then along the same lines, in general, the tourism experience. do most tourism experiences really give the depth where we're going to get that people-to-people contact that's meaningful? I'll throw that out as a question. And I don't know where I stand at the timer's not working, but shall I stop there, Ambassador Sewell, and come back to my other points later? Okay.
So I will invite the second discussant, Dr. Dennis Tolkach. Dr. Tolkach, I don't know, my pronunciation is correct. Thank you. He's the assistant professor at the School of Hotel and Tourism Management at Hong Kong Polytech University. Without much ado, I would like to invite Dr. Tolkach for his comment. Thank you.
Thank you for the introduction, and thanks to both presenters for very interesting presentations. So first, I think I'll expand on some comments on the peace and reunification, and then I have just a very short question to Ms. Su. I understand that there are many problems in thinking about peace through tourism, and especially in the case of the division of two Koreas. But I would like to think about some of the positive examples from the past and from other countries and regions where there actually was some collaboration through tourism, even in divided countries. So one of the comparisons that is often made between North and South Korea is that of East and West Germany. The division of the two Germanys was not as long as the division of Korea. And even during the two political systems and two states, there was some exchange between the two countries. For one, the citizens of West Germany could go to East Germany on pre-planned itinerary tours. So there were special hotels where they could stay, and they had to also notify authorities of all the places they would visit in advance. So those were quite expensive tours, but they still existed, so there was still opportunity to visit. And another opportunity was for cultural exchange programs. As Mr. Durbin also mentioned, these are more meaningful exchanges. And also during the Cold War era, there were cultural exchanges between the East and the West. So students could visit some of the countries outside of the Soviet Union, and visitors from Western countries could visit the countries of East Europe. And so maybe to find some solutions or to create some tourism between the North and South Korea, we could look at these specialized types of visits, not necessarily at mass tourism, as also Mr. Durbin mentioned, but looking at what could be the meaningful first steps. So one could be these cultural exchange programs. Another one, if we looked closer to our region, is the division of the People's Republic of China and Republic of China, which is Taiwan. Until 1980s, there was no contact between the two Chinas. And then the first attempt for people to travel across the Taiwan Strait was that of visiting relatives. And it's the same issue that we can see in Korea, right? Some of the families are divided between North and South, and these exchanges again would be more meaningful, as some of the examples, there was one such meeting some time ago, demonstrate. Again, we are limiting the type of visitors to another place, but it could be a first stepping stone for the more important exchanges between the people and between the two states. And another example within the region is People's Republic of China and Hong Kong. Now it's Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of People's Republic of China. And there were less than 1% of visitors coming to Hong Kong from People's Republic of China until 1982. And then the Chinese government introduced a policy of approved destinations. And Hong Kong and Macau were the first approved destinations. Both at that time were colonies of European states. Macau was the colony of Portugal, and Hong Kong was the colony of United Kingdom. And those tours were approved only for the group travel. So again, it's very controlled environment, but it's a first step. And actually in Hong Kong, we got individual visitors from China only in 2003. So the new scheme, individual visit scheme, was approved only in 2003. So maybe that's also a very regulated environment that allows for some mobility, but may overcome the huge problems ahead. And another opportunity lies in the border regions, right? So DMZ is now also a prominent wild protected site, right? There is a lot of wildlife that is flourishing in the DMZ area. Recently, there was a sighting of a black bear over there. So maybe the approach for some interaction and some communication between Koreas could be related to the natural protected area across the border, which is also a big issue internationally. How do you manage your ecosystems that are across borders? So we're taking focus away from the people's movement and focusing more on the natural resources that are common for everyone. So even though I understand the big issues related to the North and South cooperation, there might be some opportunities, I think, into looking into small problems, dividing the big issue into small ones, and trying different things. Some of them will fail, but maybe one will succeed. So that's my comments to the Professor Hunter's presentation. And a very quick question to Ms. Su. Can you elaborate a little bit more on your vision of peace Ole? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tokach. So we finished two presentations, and we listened to the two discussants also response to the presentation. So I was wondering, maybe since many issues were raised regarding this North Korea, South Korea tourism platform, maybe if you don't mind, maybe Mr. Hunter, can you respond first? Because many issues has been raised. There was some successful cases between the two contesting countries. And also some tourism program, like a student exchange program, could give certain impact on this kind of tourism expansions. So please.
Right, okay. Thank you very much, and thank you for your comments. Yeah, I'm kind of as I said, I'm not an expert. I'm not a political scientist, but I do observe. My background is cultural studies and sociology, so I am very interested in the topics. When we can look at things again, like I said, we can look at things sort of top down and bottom up, right? From large scale ideology down to implementation, or from the organic growth of a concept. And so we do see many interesting instances of how states form and divide and reform, and the process is always organic, and there's so much going on that the average person doesn't know about in terms of state relations, economic sanctions, and all these kind of meta sort of dynamics. Okay, so on that level, we can speculate and we can discuss and we can put into words our sense, our desire or our frustrations, and everything that we do to create a discourse, a public discourse, is good. Okay, so I think that in terms of the state and in terms of reunification, every point of view is valuable, and as long as we are growing towards a larger understanding of the issue. I'd like to kind of mention maybe just one kind of a little bit of a story, and that is a few years ago I traveled to Changchun, which is in northeast China, and it's a big city, and I went up there for some reasons. And while in Changchun, I took a little trip to Baekdusan, and in Chinese that's called Changbaisan. Okay, so Changbaisan or Baekdusan is very iconic and magical place. It's a big mountain, and in the middle of the mountain it's a volcanic mountain, so there's a little lake in the middle. It's a wonderful thing, and you climb many stairs, and you get to the top and you hang out there. And they have Chinese are great entrepreneurs, so you have a lot of Chinese guys carrying little chairs with bamboo, and they were grabbing me and saying, "We'll carry you up." And I looked, I said, "No, I think you won't." Little, but very fun. And you also had many in that sort of blurry region. You had many North Korean entrepreneurs who are, for some reason, in China. And these guys, they might have one pack of cigarettes and a mushroom, and they're sitting on the side of the road. That's their point of business. Okay? So it's a blurry zone. It's also a very normalized space where Chinese go to vacation. North Koreans are there doing business. There are North Korean restaurants. Okay? So our ideas of a black and white world between North and South Korea do not apply when you go to the northern border of North Korea. There it is a very normalized, blurry sort of zone. The other interesting thing is that when I got on the plane at Incheon to fly up to Changchun, and I looked around, I saw I was the only Caucasian on the plane, and I noticed everybody else was South Korean, okay? And we can talk about the semiotics of what you wear. Everybody had a climbing stick, and everybody was wearing sportswear, and it was obvious that every single person on the plane was going to climb Baekdusan. And so this raises in tourism professionals the idea of the pilgrimage. Okay, so we have the idea of student tour groups or something. But what I witnessed up there was a phenomenon of pilgrimage, where we travel to a sacred site. And it's sacred simply because it has something to do deep within us in the sense of identity. Okay? So it was very interesting, and just a very quick anecdote, and I'll stop, which is when I was standing on the rim of the mountain, okay, you can see a little stone, this big, a little stone. And on one side of the stone it says China in Chinese, Zhongguo, and on the other side of the stone it's engraved Bukhan. And so everybody who every pilgrim traveling up there had to take a photo on either side. So if anybody ever asks me, "Have you been to North Korea?" I say, "Yeah, I have. I've been one step inside." And the other interesting thing is somebody lent me their binoculars, and if you were with me this morning, okay, and we looked with the binoculars across the lake, and you can see people over there, and everybody's excited. Those are North Korean tourists looking at us. Okay, so a border, semi-porous, but again, the gazing across, right, and the idea of pilgrimage. Okay, so the story is not a bittersweet story, I think, when we talk about the notion of two Koreas. Thank you for your comments, and that's all I have to say right now.
Thank you, Dr. Hunter, for your comment. And I will give the microphone to Ms. Myung-suk Seo. During our discussion, Mr. Dorban actually highlighted the contribution of Ole Trail has made for quality tourism. Quality tourism means, this morning we discussed actually about that. It means a longer stay, higher spending. And that's what exactly we are doing in the Ole Trail. And also, Dr. Tokac raised a question about the peace Ole. That's really, I think, an important but maybe political issue. So without further delay, I will give you the floor, please.
감사합니다. 그 두 토론자 분께서 굉장히 좋은 질문을 해주신 거 감사드리고요. 잠깐만, 저는 우선 랜더 데번드 회장님께서 제주 올레가 굉장히 사람들한테 좋은 기회를 주고 자연을 가까이 하고 어떤 도시 생활에서 벗어날 수 있게 또 위안을 가질 수 있게 해줬다고 생각하신다고 한 것에 되게 감사드리고요. 실제로 많은 사람들이 그런 고백을 저희들한테 하고 있습니다. 그 전에 제주 관광이 딱 2박 3일이었어요. 렌터카로 동쪽으로 한 바퀴, 또 서쪽으로 한 바퀴. 이틀이면 충분하다. 그게 이제 제주도를 여행하는 많은 사람들이 하는 얘기였고, 그리고 한 대여섯 번 오면 이젠 다 봤다. 그러니까 이게 굉장히 포인트 관광이었던 거죠. 그런데 길을 통해서 연결하면서 걷다 보니까 같은 제주도인데 한 달 살이라는 게 생겨났어요. 제주도 여행에 6, 7년 전부터 트렌드가 뭐냐면 한 달 살이, 원 먼스, 한 달 살이를 위해서 어떤 장소를 렌트하고 이런 것들이 아주 중요한 흐름이 될 정도인데, 저는 그보다도 더 전개되는 진전된 과정은 뭐냐 하면 아예 여기로 이주하는 거예요. 여행을 통해서 어떤 지역 이동을 결심하는 게 사실 쉽지는 않거든요. 그전에 수십 년 동안 여행을 했지만 제주도 인구가 그렇게 지난 10년처럼 늘어나진 않았었습니다. 그런데 이 엄청난 도시화에 지친 사람들이 그전에 관광하고는 달리 제주도의 진짜 속살을 들여다보면서 진짜 바다를 걸어보면서 진짜 자유와 평화, 이 진짜 평화를 자연에서 느끼는 거죠. 그러다 보니까 아예 이주를 결심해서 제주도에 1년에 10,000명씩 인구가 지난 8년 동안 계속 10,000명, 12,000명씩 늘어나고 있어요. 대개 섬이 인구가 늘어나는 거는 지금같이 도시화가 진전되는 현대 사회에서는 굉장히 드문 일인데, 이제 올해가 그 어떤 이미그레이션의 어떤 포인트가 이제 시발점이 된 거죠. 지금은 뭐 다른 일로도 많이 내려오게 됐지만, 그래서 그냥 단순한 관광하고 걷는 거는 그 지역을 이해하는 데서 굉장히 다른 경험을 하게 만든다고 저는 생각을 합니다. 일례로 우리가 일본에 규슈를 내면서 한국의 많은 사람들이 일본 규슈 지방의 기대대로 많이 갔어요. 굉장히 많이 가기 시작했습니다. 8년 전부터. 그런데 한국과 일본은 지금 굉장히 정치적으로 많은 이슈가 있고 굉장히 감정이 안 좋아요. 정부 당국들 사이에서는 남북한 못지않게. 그런데 규슈올레를 걸으면서 굉장히 일본의 보통 사람들에 대해서 굉장히 우호적인 감정을 한국 사람들이 갖게 되고, 또 일본의 규슈 관계자들이 또 한국에 제주올레 많이 걸으러 오는데 그분들 또한 한국 사람에 대해서 굉장히 다른, 이거는 그전에 관광을 어디 보러 다니는 관광에서는 생길 수 없는 서로에 대한 깊은 이해와 우정, 그 지역에 대한 이해, 교류, 그런 게 생겨난다는 거죠. 그래서 저는 걷는 관광이야말로 가장 어떻게 보면 평화에 가까이 가는, 지속 가능한 평화와 교류를 보장하는 중요한 수단이라고 저는 생각합니다. 그리고 아까 데니스 톨카치 교수님께서 물어봐 주신 피스 올레에 대한 관심 정말 감사드리고요. 저는 사실 여기서 고백합니다마는 피스 올레에 대해서는 굉장히, 제가 처음으로 피스 올레를 어떻게 보면 제 머릿속에 딱 들어온 거는 제가 산티아고 길을 50살 돼서 직장까지 그만두면서 여행을 하러 갔을 때 첫날 저는 걸어서 프랑스 생장 피트포르에서 출발을 했는데 저 혼자 떠나는 첫 여행이었어요. 해외여행은 긴 건. 그런데 첫날 배낭을 메고 걸었는데 26km를 걸어가니까 스페인으로 나라가 바뀌었어요. 그거는 저한테 너무 충격적인 경험이었어요. 저희들은 예전에는 우리 이 선조들은, 저희 아버지는 매일 저한테 했던 말이, 우리는 썰매 겨울에 썰매를 타고 두만강을 건너면 중국이었다. 그래서 초등학교 때 중국을 건너갔다, 매일 건너갔다 왔다는 거예요. 겨울방학 때, 겨울에. 저희 아버지는 국경을 넘는 경험을 하셨는데 정작 더 현대화된 사회에 사는 우리는 분단 때문에 판문점도 못 넘어보니까, 남북 사이도 못 넘어보니까 국경을 넘는 경험을 해보지 못했던 거예요. 다 비행기를 타거나 뭐 배를 타고서 가긴 해도 발로 나라의 국경을 못 넘어봤기 때문에, 제가 우리나라 국경을 넘기도 전에 다른 나라의 국경을 두 발로 넘으면서 그때 저한테 강력하게 생긴 꿈이, 나 아버지 땅까지 걸어가고 아버지의 그 고향에서 중국 쪽으로도 한번 가보는 게 저희 꿈으로 자리를 그때 잡은 거예요. 그게 2006년도 일이죠. 그래서 그 뒤로 뭐 계속 여러 경로를 통해서 북한에 남북한이 조금이라도 화해와 교류가 열리면 어떤 구간만이라도 가서 제가 길을 좀 찾고 내고 싶다라는, 그리고 궁극적으로는 피스올레를 하고 싶다는 얘기를 여러 경로를 통해서 북한 쪽에 지금 전달하고 있는 중입니다. 네.
예, 감사합니다. So we completed one round of presentation and comments, and I'm wondering, before I open the floor for the audience, I'm wondering whether our discussants have additional comments or questions to raise. Please.
Yeah, something I'd like to add to the discussion is thinking about if tourism developed on the full peninsula, what form would that take and what would be the benefits? I think there's an argument for reunification on the tourism benefits to economics because, you know, let's face it, neither North nor South has come anywhere close to benefiting, getting the full benefit of tourism. South Korea has very little inbound international tourism. It's very strong on MICE, on meetings, incentives, and conventions. South Korea stands at the as a leadership position in Asia Pacific for conventions and trade shows, but very little leisure travel. Foreigners don't know that South Korea is 64% trees, and there's a lot of nature to see, and there's great variety. So South Korea has its own potential. North Korea, let's face it, my God, you know, inbound international travel is an export economy, right? And the balance of payments for a national economy, inbound international is an export. We think of export as we produce a product and we sell it outside like a Samsung phone. But when the international traveler visits your country, they're bringing their currency, their money, entering your economy. So you're bringing money in like you're selling something out. Would North Korea benefit from that? I think they'd benefit tremendously. So I think in a world with more open borders, North Korea would have these tremendous economic benefits on balance of payments and just general growth. South Koreans would, out of tremendous curiosity and cultural affinity, wish to go there. The first 10 years would be amazing economic activity of South Koreans going to North. North Koreans, let's face it, would have great difficulty coming south. A, most of them don't have money. B, the psychology and the interaction at different socioeconomic levels would be extremely difficult. Like Professor Tolkach, I have personal experience in the Germanys. I was in Germany many times in my life, but especially immediately after 1989. And you'd see the East Germans driving their cheap little tiny car into West Germany. They were embarrassed. They were third-class citizens because of their level of economic development. Psychologically, it was unpleasant, and they didn't do it even if they could put the money together. So there's not a huge amount of potential from north to south. That wouldn't happen, and that would take decades to develop. But here's something I don't think people would think about so much, is that region-wide, the international inbound visitor would love to see both on the same trip. And all those international visitors who are not coming to South Korea right now because they don't know about it, they think of Samsung and K-pop. They don't think of comfort, leisure travel, and there's wonderful things to see in this country. They would come and do a comparison of North and South. So South Korea would get a big economic pickup. So somehow, if in the reunification discussions, those economic benefit issues could come out, that North Korea would benefit tremendously on its export economy by having the inbound internationally, and South Korea would both be substantial. And South Korea would also have its own significant benefit of inbound travel.
Thank you. Maybe I can give the floor to Dr. Hunter for any comment regarding this comment as well. I mean, the imbalances and the contrasting features between North and South actually can be a driving force for a beneficial tourism platform. but still mistrust and the broken promises can be a hurdle. Somehow, I think Dr. Tokac talk about the controlled environment. I think somehow if we can, how do I say, drive this kind of incentives to expand the tourism cooperation, certainly it can be beneficial to both North and South.
Yeah, very valuable comments from Mr. Durban. Just two things very briefly to mention is the idea of the synergy effect and regional tourism is a very nice way of thinking, right? So you have perhaps an additional draw when we do, especially long distance travel, right? We might want to take in more than one destination, and enjoying perhaps what North Korea might offer, right? In its sort of what we might consider sort of time travel in going to a country that's economically, politically, perhaps ideologically, from a developed country point of view, we would consider that, I guess, a form of travel, form of tourism, which I'd call time travel, right? The other thing to think about in terms of North Korea is we tend to think of North Korea in terms of stereotypes and thinking, well, it's just a really poor country. And I'd like to offer a counter view that it's a highly stratified country. So that means lots and lots of poor people, but on top of that, a layer of very wealthy people. And actually, there are two types of mobility, right? If you don't have a lot of money, you can still travel under relatively low visibility. So you might be able to travel and enjoy low-cost experiences in the South if you were a North Korean. On the other side of the coin, somebody who is currently very wealthy and privileged in North Korea might be able to buy and sell a wealthy South Korean national, okay, but on the other hand, would be highly visible and be restricted in that sense. So the issue of sort of an unrestricted travel paradigm is still, I think, very, very far away. But the idea of starting with organized travel is a good idea in that sense. And I will recall just very briefly the experience of my first time traveling in China back in, I think, about 1982. And that was when China was just barely opened to travel. And we were in tour groups. And how China developed its tourism is very different than Korea. China developed in terms of scenic sites. So you'd go to Lijiang, you'd go to the Great Wall, you'd go to the Forbidden City, and then get out. And at night, we'd be locked in hotel rooms. We had a separate currency that we used. We went to different kinds of restaurants than nationals frequented, okay? But now if you travel in China, you don't feel any of those restrictions. So whatever might happen in the future as far as the development of inter-Korean tourism, it's definitely going to happen. Sort of like the ole, the organic sort of growth of the ole, starting from the small and growing into an institution. Yeah.
So thank you. So now I will open the floor for our audience. If you have any comment or question, please raise your hand. And when you speak, if you can introduce yourself and also country that you have come from, and maybe your professional status, if you can say that. Introduce, please.
Hello, my name is Manju. Mandala from Indonesia. I'm a current master's student of the University of Nottingham. I'm currently writing a dissertation about perspectives, and I have read that in order to change perspectives, it needs years to change someone's perspective. But one thing that can change someone's perspective is context. Context where where the person that holds that perspective is living. Now, I'm so much interested in the idea of peace ole raised by Ms. Suk before, and I'm very excited if it is possible to be done. However, I believe that the reunification between the North and the South will raise some different perspectives, and as I said before, that it will need years to change someone's perspective, especially because I am a teacher whose students are very much interested in K-pop. I have also watched Hello Counselor. One interesting thing that I have watched from that show is that there is a North Korean person working in the South Korea, and then receives different treatment from the South Korean just because that the South Korean can tell from his accent that he is from North Korea, so that he receives different treatment. I mean, like he's working as a sales marketer, and then fewer people go to him just because he is from the North Korea. So, as the person who raises this idea, I would like to ask, how would you solve the issue of the South Korean perspective towards the North Korean people? Thank you.
Let us have a couple more questions from the audience.
안녕하세요. 저는 제주대학교에서 관광학을 연구하고 있는 장혜원이라고 합니다. 발표 잘 들었고요. 특별하게 그 서명수 기사님께 질문을 좀 드리고 싶은데요. 그러니까 올레길을 제가 또 개인적으로 굉장히 좋아해서 거의 몇 군데를 제외하고는 전부 다 이렇게 자녀하고 다녀봤습니다. 그래서 많은 그런 찬양은 있기 때문에 저는 약간 궁금한 사항을 몇 가지만 질문 좀 드리겠는데요. 첫 번째로 올레길이라는 거는 기존의 어떤 투어리즘하고의 상당히 다른 관점에서 접근을 했다고 생각을 합니다. 왜냐하면 관광객하고 지역 주민 간의 직접적인 어떤 순간의 만남의 그런 장이 됐던 것 같고, 거기에 대해서는 그런 문화적인 이해와 함께 경제적 소비 또한 그쪽에서 지출을 해서 나름의 어떤 관광의 수혜를 지역 주민에게 가고자 하는 그런 의도도 있었다고 생각을 하는데요. 그런 점에서 지금 중간 평가의 어떤 관점에서 이사장님이 생각하시는 올레길이 성공 여부를 좀 궁금하고요. 제가 또 지속 가능성에 대해서 계속 말씀을 하시니까 저는 올레길에 이제 국한시켜서 말씀을 드리면, 제가 올레길을 다닐 때 상당히 좀 약간 좀 이런 데까지 굳이 올레길을 만들었어야 됐을까? 그리고 중간에 좀 길을 잃어가지고 거기 119까지 부른 적도 있었거든요. 그래서 그런 안전 문제라든가 뭐 사고도 났었습니다만은, 그래서 저는 저 혼자는 한 번도 가본 적이 없어요. 좀 위험하기도 하고, 그런 점에서 어떤 디테일을 조금 더 집중할 수 있는 그런 어떤 대안을 갖고 계신가, 그거 여쭤보고 싶고, 아까 피스 그 트레일 말씀하셨는데, 관광학을 전공하다 보면 어떤 남북 어떤 이론이 있습니다. 그래서 선진국에서 후진국에 여행을 하면서 생기는 어떤 게이지 시선의 문제가 있는데요. 그래서 상대적으로 제가 북한보다는 저희가 그래도 경제 수준이나 어떤 수준에서 좀 우위를 점하고 있는데, 솔직히 말해서 이런 평화 올레길을 만약에 개발을 했을 경우, 그런 올레길을 걸으면서 그 지역 주민에 대한 이해를 얼마 정도 할 수 있을까? 그리고 그것은 어떻게 보면 우리 남한 쪽 사람들을 위한 올레길이 되지 않을까? 그러면 굳이 그게 반드시 그 평화 올레길이라고 우리가 명명할 수 있을까? 이런 거에 대한 의구심이 좀 생기는데, 그에 대해서 좀 답변 좀 부탁드리겠습니다.
많은 질문해 주셔서 감사합니다. I will receive one more question from the audience. Okay.
I'm Rahul Garg. I'm Additional Commissioner in Saudi Municipal Corporation. Well, I would like to share the Indian experience vis-a-vis pilgrim tourism, the issue which was raised in the panel discussion. Well, in India, this pilgrim tourism, I would like to share this with the entire group. Pilgrim tourism in India is very, very popular, and there are so many places in India whose whole economy is dependent on pilgrim tourism only. where people generally go to these places like in Hindus, they go to Vaishno Devi or they go to Tirupati. The entire township is built around the whole concept of pilgrim. Now, similarly, vis-a-vis the international relations are concerned, you will be pleasantly surprised to know that though India and China don't have a very, very friendly relations, but still pilgrim tourism is there between India and China because Hindus revered Mount Kailash, which is in Tibet. So China has given special permission to Indian religious tourists to go and visit that place. Similarly, between India and Pakistan also, we have got so many places which have Muslims, a lot many Muslims in Pakistan. They have got religious sanctity for this place called Ajmer Sharif, for which the Indian government gives special visa and special permission for the Indian Muslims for the Pakistani Muslims to come and visit these places. And recently, because of this pilgrim tourism only, there's a place of high religious sanctity for the Sikhs who are there in India, which is called Kartarpur Sahib, which you would have also read in the newspaper. The Pakistan government and Indian government together, they are building up a special corridor because Kartarpur Sahib is around 2 kilometers from the Indian border. So a special corridor is being made for the Sikh tourists so that they can go and visit this site which is there in Pakistan. So basically what I want to say is that pilgrim tourism can be a starting point for increasing people to people contact between two countries. Thank you.
So thank you. So I will turn our mics to our presenters and discussants. Who's going to be the first? I think the several questions has been raised to Ms. Meng-Suk So. So I will give her the floor to her first. Yeah.
저에 대해서 저한테 여러 가지를 질문해 주셔서 제가 짧은 시간에 다 답변이 될런지는 모르겠습니다만은 나중에 답변 안 되면 저희 홈페이지로 물어봐 주세요. 일단 말씀드릴게요. 북한 사람들에 대한 편견의 시선을 어떻게 할 거냐고 하셨는데 사실은 모든 사회에서 경제적인 낙후 또 이념적인 문제 때문에 편견을 갖게 되는 거는 피할 수는 없는 것 같아요. 그러나 그럴수록 자주 교류하고 만나다 보면 편견의 이것 때문이다. 편견의 벽이 됐어요. 편견의 벽이 낮아질 결국은 안 만나고 멀리 있고 닫혀 있기 때문에 편견이라는 게 더 강해질 수밖에 없는 거기 때문에 제가 그 남북한 간에도 길을 자꾸 얘기하는 게 사람이 가장 진솔하게 만날 수 있는 게 결국은 길이고 그래서 길을 통해서 만나다 보면 편견의 벽이 자주 보다 보면 낮아질 수밖에 없는 거거든요. 그들도 다 사람은 다 같은 사람이니까. 그래서 그 점은 그렇게 말씀드리겠고요. 그다음에 올레길 아까 그 말씀해 주신 올레길 투어리즘이 상당히 다른 측면에서 시작됐다라고 다른 측면에서 접근했다는 거 정말 감사한 말이고요. 맞는 얘기입니다. 저는 이거를 관광 산업적인 측면에서 접근한 게 아니라 교류의 측면에서 그리고 도시 사람들은 자기를 성찰하고 자기를 돌아보고 힐링하고 또 그다음 시골의 지역 사람들은 관광지가 아니었던 지역 사람들이 여행자를 만나게 되는 그런 만남에 더 많은 비중을 두어서 길을 설계하는 데 있어서 길을 가는데 되도록이면 그 전에 관광지로 개방이 안 됐던 마을들을 더 많이 지나다니도록 했어요. 그래서 거기에서 만난 제주도 할머니들이 굉장히 모처럼 외지에서 온 사람들을 보고 너무 반가워서 베풀어주는 소박한 친절 때문에 사람들이 감동해서 막 인터넷에 올리고 어떤 방송 작가가 그거를 드라마에도 반영하고 뭐 이러는 식으로 해서 어떤 사람이 주는 감동이 자연이 주는 감동 못지않게 돼서 이 올레길이 더 빨리 알려지고 더 열풍이 불었던 거거든요. 그래서 그런 점에서는 그렇게 아까 말씀하신 게 맞고요. 중간 평가를 얘기하셨는데 굉장히 성공한 측면과 굉장히 문제를 낳은 측면이 동시에 있었다고 스스로 생각해요. 그건 원하지 않는 어떤 나쁜 결과, 예를 들면 부동산 값이 너무 올라 버렸달지, 그래서 지역의 사람들이 오히려 젊은이들이 집을 사기 힘들어지게 됐달지, 특히 어떤 몇몇 바닷가 마을들은 전혀 안 알려졌던 데가 엄청나게 지금 막 펜션이니 뭐니 큰 건물이 들어서서 그런 걸 볼 때마다 굉장히 가슴 아픈 어떤 지역도 몇 군데 있어요. 쌍그릴라 같은 거죠. 그렇지만 저는 대부분의 경우에 100% 100점 만점은 아니지만, 또 긍정적인 요소만 있는 건 아니지만 부정적인 요소보다 긍정적인 요소가 훨씬 더 많았던 그런 관광의 방식이라고 아직도 생각하고 있고, 많은 사람들이 또 그렇게 얘기하고 있어요. 네. 그리고 더 하면 길어지는 거죠. 저 안전 문제에 대해서는 제가 조금만 말씀드릴게요. 그래서 사실은 에파란치안 트레일 같은 건 훨씬 더 위험해요. 사실 굉장히 위험한 트레일들이 많습니다. 엄청 위험한, 자기가 감당해야만 되는. 그런데 아직도 한국 분들은 그런 안전에 대한 것이 굉장히 너무 보통 분들이 이제 트레일을 지금 하고 계시기 때문에 그런 것에 대해서는 저희들이 함께 걷기라는 프로그램을 마련했어요. 그래서 올레길을 많이 경험해본 자연봉사자가 같이 그날 신청만 하면 걸어주는, 인터넷에 어느 장소를 어디로 해서 그런 프로그램을 통해서 다양하게 보완을 하고 있는 중이라고 말씀드리겠습니다.
감사합니다. I think the many questions has been answered, but we still have a question from our Indian participants regarding the pilgrimage tourism. Whether are we supposed to consider it as a positive sign, like a people-to-people exchanges? So maybe I can ask Dr. Honto and Mr. Turban regarding this question. Do you have any feedback on this?
Yeah, thank you for your question, and it's a really great question. And of course, pilgrimage, I think, I don't know if anybody does pilgrimage better than the Indians. Okay, and the thing about pilgrimage in India, as I understand it, it is maybe 10% religion and 99%, 10% religion and 99% recreation and sort of conspicuous consumption. So it's a really big thing. I think one example comes to me is the Kumbh Mela, right? So the largest gathering of people on earth. And you might have one portion of people who are there for some religious purpose. You have people who are there who are living in luxury. You have people there who are suffering. You have people there who are just there to see the spectacle. Okay, so that's a wonderful thing about the diversity of pilgrimage. However, just pulling back from my previous comments about sort of this notion of pilgrimage of South Koreans to the north, the problem there is that, okay, we have two different sub-identities, right, north versus south, okay, focusing on a single spot. And so what this would be more, this would be similar to the state of affairs in Jerusalem, where you have multiple religious narratives, right, struggling for a space in the physical space, in the discourse in Jerusalem, okay, rather than a consensus. So I wonder how that would. So that's an area to speculate and to think about. The other issue, if I may, just very, very quickly, I'd also like to comment on danger, and this could go for the idea of pilgrimage, or it can go for, and it seems almost as if the ole, okay, from its very primitive sort of roots or beginnings, and now it's such a big sort of infrastructure, it's a big system. Safety, okay? And I think this was, I remember seeing the news about the murder on the Ole. and people, encountering or getting lost and things like this. The funny thing is about any sort of outdoor recreation, any sort of festival or event, brings with it a sense, a certain level of danger and a certain level of perhaps pollution. So the idea of sort of taking these as issues is sort of for people in some countries or from some cultural backgrounds are non-issues, right? The issue of safety, the onus is on self. Okay, and the other problem that I think needs to be brought up is that in response to people complaining about safety, the original sort of rural and undeveloped and pure sense of the Ole, I'm afraid, it's slowly being lost because trails are being paved, the signs are made bigger, and I believe all of that goes in contradiction to the philosophy of the Ole, and I think it needs to be said. Okay, we can't be 100% say, oh, the Ole is great, let's make sure, let's hold everybody's hand. I don't think that's the proper approach. I think we should maintain the sense of wildness that represents what Jeju is. Okay, when I lived in Jeju, I've been lost many times in the Orem or somewhere else, and I take all the blame for myself. Okay, and sometimes being lost is the opportunity to discover something else. Okay, I take up to it.
Okay. Mr. Durbin.
So you're never lost, you're sightseeing. All right? So I think this pilgrimage idea is very interesting, but I think there's a little bit of the popularity of pilgrimage is a little bit cultural. It kind of works for Indians and Hindus. Within the Christian world, it works for Catholics, but not for Protestants. But what I do think it speaks to that anybody of any social system, any religious group or ethnicity or whatever, we need storytelling. We need a target. We need a goal. So when you wrap an outing around pilgrimage, it's got its story, it's got its goal. Many successes in the world, when you do get opportunities to get people outdoors, it's go see that waterfall. That's the waterfall is the target, right? Now it may take you 2 hours each way to go see the waterfall, and the visitor, the overall experience is all about those 4 hours, but that visitor probably wouldn't go there without the target of the waterfall. If you just sold the idea of 4 hours of hiking and commune with nature, that's not a very good story. We need targets, we need a story, we need a package to sell. Ole Trail, I think one of its success marks is that I think it would be hard to sell Ole Trail if you didn't break it down into sections. You know, if you just said to people, it'd be a really good idea to walk all the way around Jeju Island. Well, how many people can do that? How many people have the time? How many people have the physical capacity to do that? But many people can go do hike section number 5. So section number 5 is its own story. I did number 5. In a reasonable amount of time with access to people of various ages and various physical capabilities. So I think your point about pilgrimage fits in the idea of creating a manageable package in time, space, and physical ability to people to achieve that, a story that you can talk about, a story you can promote, a package you can sell. So whether it's waterfall, pilgrimage, section 5, all of those, what they share in common is a beginning and an end, and a theme and a story to tell.
Thank you. I think we are almost coming to an end of our panel discussion. But before closing, do we still have many questions from the audience? How many people will be interested in raising? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, then I will close the question list. Let's start with let's start from there. We will listen to the questions first and then the response from the presenters. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity for asking this question. My name is Sochia. I am from Cambodia. I am working at university. From the morning presentation from Mr. Handy is about the destination life cycle, first developed by Professor Richard Butler, if I'm not correct. I think I can see that the development stage of the ecotourism or community-based tourism, or in this case as a trail, I think that face a lot of challenge. And one other question that I want to raise for Ms. Su is about the participation from private sector, because you in your presentation, in your talk, you stress that you get a lot of support from private sector. And can you elaborate a little bit more about this? Because from my experience, private sector engagement in such development is challenging, especially in developing countries. And one other about the support too, uh, the public support. I mean government. I did not hear much about it. Do you, in the case of your trail, do you get a lot of support from the government as well? Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to raise my question. So, this is just a very quick question. I would like to, if Ms. Myung-sok have statistics or assumptions, how many non-South Koreans who are taking the Oli Trail? Because I really wanted to know the marketability of that project. Because as we all know, in my country, I'm Mark from the Philippines. Sorry. We are an eco adventure. We do most activities on the nature part, environmental aspect. So I really wanted to know the marketability of Oli Trail for non-South Korean people. Thank you.
The last, please.
Yeah, thank you for giving me an opportunity to ask. Actually, my name is Changwon Park, working at ICC Jeju, the convention center that all of you are here now. I'm also student. I'm also PhD student studying tourism. So I'm very interested in the mice industry. So I want to ask Professor William Hunter. I think mice industry is also a part of tourism. So could you give us some perspectives or ideas about convention and exhibition cooperation between two Koreas? Because I heard that you are in exhibition and convention management at Kyung University Department. So actually, I think you are very you have a very nice insight for that. So that's my question. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sure we'll have a really great potential for this nice industrial cooperation. But anyway, without much ado, I will give the floor to Dr. Hunter first.
Okay, thanks for the easy question. Okay, I'll say two things because we're out of time, I'll say two things very quickly. Number one, your first comment is mice, does mice equal tourism? Absolutely. Mice is definitely, in fact, I might say mice is the future of tourism. And so what happens is with mice, it's simply a different vehicle, okay? So when I come here to this event here in Jeju, I'm thinking about how to escape this room and go have fun on the beach or go shopping or go meet my friends, okay? And the idea of that and the concept of that is that you have a meeting, event, or something incentive here, and you have to have access to these peripheral types of services, okay? So if I arrive at the venue, if I arrive here last night, I want to go out and enjoy a restaurant. I want to go out and see some sights. I want to go walk the Ole, okay? So this is the first reason why MICE is such a good vehicle for tourism, because we can explain to our boss why we're skipping work and then go have fun, okay? The second thing that is connected to this was your question of MICE as a vehicle for North-South tourism. Yes, Dr. Tolkok mentioned sort of the issue of control, right? And you have these opening markets. How do you control the flow of tourists and what they do, okay? And I think that's, MICE is a great way, first of all, using tourism to increase North-South understanding, and number two, to control sort of the activity, right, at the beginning, emergent sort of stage of development and make sure here's your time window of time, and here are the periphery activities available to your meeting attendees. So yeah, great question.
Thank you. And there were two questions directed to Ms. Seo Myung-suk. Can you comment?
먼저 캄보디아 분께서 물어본 민간 참여 부분, 네, 그 민간 저희들이 움직이는 동력은 순수하게 민간이 90%라고 보시면 됩니다. 민간이 그 길을 걸었던 사람들이 그 길이 유지되라고, 그 길을 잘 보수해달라고 그분들이 후원금을 내요. 그래서 재정을 지원하는 것도 그 민간인들이고, 그리고 그분들이 또 많은 자원봉사자를 합니다. 길에서 보수부터 시작해서 축제 참여랄지 모든 거에서 엄청나게 자원봉사자, 저희 600명이 넘는 자원봉사자들을 거느리고 있어요. 그것은 그만큼 그 길에서 스스로 베니핏을 받았다고 생각하는 사람들이 그 길에서 받은 기쁨, 그 위로, 그 힐링을 다시 갚는 겁니다. 그런 거고요. 그 정부에서는 저희들은 정부의 직원이 지금 30명이에요. 저 혼자 시작했던 일이 지금 30명이 전화 받고 뭐 하고 뭐 이런 사무적 일을 보는데, 그 30명의 월급은 단 한 푼도 지방 정부나 중앙 정부의 예산을 받고 있지 않습니다. 왜냐하면 그렇게 받기 시작하면 이게 종속이 되기 때문에 저희들은 그런 기본적인, 그리고 윗사람이 바뀌면 그 다시 재정 보조를 끊으면 우리가 그 사람들 내보내서도 안 되는 거잖아요. 그래서 기본적인 인력을 유지하는 비용은 충성스러운 자원봉사자, 그 길의 후원자, 개인 후원자들이 모여서 개미군단들이 저희들 직원들 월급을 주고 있고요. 중앙정부, 지방정부에서 하는 일은 아까 말한 대로 화장실이랄지 뭐 안내소랄지 그런 걸 지원하는 역할을 하는 거죠. 그리고 또 하나, 두 번째, 얼마나 많은 외국인들이 찾아오느냐고 물었죠. 그는 처음에는 국내 사람들이 대부분이었어요. 국내 사람이 대부분이었죠. 저희들은 트레일로 한국에서 제일 유명할 뿐이지 12년밖에 안 된, 다른 100년, 50년 된 트레일에 비하면 굉장히 역사가 짧은 트레일이에요. 다만 제주 자연이 갖는 아름다움 때문에 굉장히 강력한 그 경쟁력 있는 트레일일 뿐이지 역사는 굉장히 짧기 때문에요. 외국 사람이 초반엔 별로 없었어요. 그래서 우리가 외국의 유명한 트레일, 12개의 유명한 영국, 미국, 뭐 캐나다, 스페인, 엄청 그 트레일의 역사가 오래된 나라들이랑 프렌드십 트레일을 계속 1년에 하나씩 이렇게 맺어서 12개 나라의 트레일들하고 프렌드십 트레일을 맺었어요. 그러고 난 다음부터는 조금씩 이제 외국 사람들이 많이 늘기 시작했고요. 지금 주로 오는, 그래도 많은 외국인의 비중은 주로 일본, 홍콩, 싱가포르, 여기 극동아시아가 너무 머니까 주로 가까운데 일본, 홍콩, 싱가포르 이런 대도시, 아시아의 대도시 쪽 사람들. 근데 작년부터는 뭐 네덜란드, 프랑스 뭐 이런 쪽 유럽 사람들도 좀 오기 시작하고 있어요. 대답 됐나요? 네.
숫자는
제가 숫자에 너무나 약한 사람이라서 숫자는 우리 사무국에 물어보면 네.
저희 데이터가 있긴 있는데.
네, 있어요.
Yeah. So we already passed the time, but before closing, I would like to give floor to Dr. Tolkach. Always, distance is very important, and I think Dr. Tolkach has been disadvantaged because of the distance from my podium. So if you can add anything, please go ahead.
Thank you for the time. So based on our discussion, I would think that one of the problems with our North-South cooperation in tourism is actually South Koreans visiting the North and North Koreans visiting the South. And it would be much easier for everybody in the region to just work on the tourism towards the outsiders. So for North Korea to deregulate tourism industry a bit more and run multi-country itineraries, maybe from Russia to Japan to North Korea, South Korea, and China, maybe through cruise tourism, although cruise tourism is very bad for the natural environment. And maybe they could come to Jeju and walk the Ole Trail, and maybe the path is not to establish a very long Ole Trail through the whole peninsula, but to work on establishing more Ole trails throughout the Asia region, as it has already begun, and there are a lot of positives in the destinations which establish these Ole trails. So that's my takeaway.
So finally, we have come to the end of our panel discussion. As I said in the beginning, this panel discussion has taken place as a part of our workshop. So I hope our discussion we have in this panel discussion could be a very constructive input for our workshop. This is the first day of our workshop. So we still have 2 or 3 days further to go. So I think this could be a really good constructive input. So thank you. With that, I would like to thank you two presenters and two discussants. And I also thank all the active participation from the audience. Thank you.